GM. GM. Today's lesson I'm going to talk about confidence. So there's a sweet spot that all successful traders reach in their confidence level. And it falls, as you'd imagine, not at the middle, but at the top end of the spectrum. If you imagine 0 to 10 spectrum, 0 being no confidence whatsoever in your abilities, to 10 being overconfident, the ideal position for a trader is about 8 out of 10. Overconfidence will destroy you. Overconfidence leads to cockiness, it leads to lack of research, it leads to complacency, it leads to far too much risk, not appreciating downside. And no confidence, you'll never get off the ground. Right? If you have no confidence, you'll never be able to risk big enough to make any money. Because people with no confidence, they can't get to the point of actually sizing up. They just stay in fear all the time. Now, how do you get past the no confidence stage? That's the easiest one, right? Having no confidence comes from a place of knowing deep inside that you do not have the required skills yet. That is simply a case of doing the work. If you don't have any confidence, it just means you haven't done enough testing, you haven't built enough systems, you haven't done enough small stakes trading, you just haven't been in the market enough. So don't worry about that. Okay? Now, that can only be for new traders. If you are someone who has traded for a number of years and you've been unsuccessful, you will not fall into the no confidence category, you'll fall into low confidence. Right? And low confidence category is where you need to, again, same thing. You have to reinvent yourself as a trader. You have to go back and delete all of the old programs in your brain and start new ones. So if you've traded for 3 years and you've net lost money and you've not been able to follow a process, or you've kind of sporadically followed processes, or you've gambled, or you've doubled down, you don't done any of these typical flaws and drawbacks that a trader will experience, the only thing you can do is rebuild yourself from the ground up. So that goes back to your process. So like I show in White Belt, you need to follow literally every single minute of every single day and just do what I say. It is the path. Become entirely process driven. Everything is done ahead of time. You already know where you're getting in, getting out, and taking profit. You already have your rules defined before you enter a trade. You just need to do these things, because a low confidence trader, you're not low confidence because you lose money. You're low confidence because you don't trust yourself to do anything repeatedly except lose, right? The only consistent thing you've done as a trader is lose money. So the first thing you need to do is forget about any money and become consistent in your process. This is so important. The difference of, if you imagine 2 or 3 on the confidence scale, to get you from 2 or 3 to 5 or 6, which is a big leap, it's only 100% about being consistent in applying your process. That's all it is. It's not about making money. You can become a confident trader, a 6 out of 10, without even making a penny, because you can be confident in your process. The money will come after. So if you're low confidence, if you've traded, you've fucked around, you've gambled, you've doubled down, you've been a leverage ape, you've messed up, you've lost money, you've got liquidated, you have to delete all those old programs in your brain and start fresh with rigid processes. Your brain knows what you have done and it assumes you will default back to that. Right? So as a loser, meaning you lose money in the markets, not a loser in life. As a loser in the markets who loses money consistently, all your brain knows is he loses money consistently. So if you don't make a change, it's going to keep expecting the same thing. But if you suddenly change, your brain is like, wait a minute. Why is this guy doing 20 minutes of analysis every morning? Why is he doing back testing every day? Why is he writing in his journal every night? Why is he following all these rules and processes every single day? Why is he going to the gym every day? Why is he eating healthy? Why is he getting the correct amount of sleep? Why is he managing his time? Because it's not just about trading, it's every area of your life. Why is he making his fucking bed? Little things compound into big things. If you start to do different things, if you change your physical environment, change the actions you take, your brain will stop thinking that it is going to default into the old patterns, which are lose money, don't learn from the mistake, lose money, don't learn from the mistake, lose money. No, one day it'll be like, oh, lose money, learn from the mistake, starts to follow process, and then you'll break the pattern. That will get you from low confidence into confidence. Then to get to that sweet spot, that's about consistent application over time. Nothing else will fill it in other than time, because you can become confident in a month. Everyone, if you follow white belt from day 1 to day 30, and you do exactly what is said, and you do the exact tasks, and you do the exact back testing, and you actually follow it, and then as soon as you start into blue belt and you start into live trading, and you go $1 of risk, and you do your first 5 live trades, and you follow the rules perfectly every time, and you journal it and you track it, at that point you are a confident trader. 30, 35, 40 days, that is enough for your brain to recognize it as a new habit. Then it's 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. That's when you become a confident, peak confident trader. A 7, pushing towards an 8. Again, it's nothing to do with the dollars in your bank. It's the fact that okay, that first month wasn't a fluke. Because the second month I was consistent, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth. And you get to a point where it cannot be a fluke. It cannot be an anomaly. It can't be an accident. I had this in sales. I've told my story about sales many times, but I had no sales experience. 0. And I genuinely mean 0 sales experience when I started my sales job. Within the first month, within 6 weeks technically, I had made $113,000 exactly of sales, which was the highest amount ever made by anyone ever in the first 6 weeks in the whole company, out of tens of thousands of consultants. And then I went on to repeat that several times. But within my first 6 months, I still had that feeling of imposter syndrome. I was like, was I lucky? Did I just get a lucky month? Did I just hit the right sales, the right calls at the right time? But then I did it again and again and again. And even after 6 months, I was like, okay, I've had a really good 6 months. I hope I can keep it up till the end of the year. Because it's all about yearly. In sales, it's about your yearly targets. And then I got to the end of the first year and I did over $1 million. $1 million in sales. And at that point, now coming into it, it was month 9, month 10, month 11, month 12. I was confident. I was that 8 on the scale. Not overconfident, because I didn't have... It's in sales, it's easier because you're accountable to a manager and you have a team and there's a lot more people around you. It was easy to not get overconfident in sales because I was always accountable to my P&L, like my sales for that month. And if I didn't hit it, I had to answer to people. Whereas in trading, of course, you only have to answer to yourself. And the reason you don't get overconfident is because you're always chasing the last month, right? You're always chasing your previous month. Once it's done, it's wiped. You're back to 0. Whereas in trading, again, it should be that way. After your month's over, you go on to the next month. But of course, if you have 6 good months and you make a bunch of money, you could just take the rest of the year off. Right? So you'll not lose anything, but you won't make any more. And it's actually coming from a place of fear. And for some people, they get into that overconfidence very easily. Now, there's 2 types of people who get into overconfidence as a trader, this is funny. It's been studied, by the way. There's been extensive studies done on this. Traders that feel the most overconfidence are often the least profitable and the least skilled. The worst traders display the highest traits of overconfidence. And I personally think that it's a defense mechanism. It's that it's an insanely difficult industry to win in. And whenever you have these super hard industries to win in, people tend to overestimate their abilities because they just think, I bet I can do it. I need to be able to do it. Of course I can do it. I'll never quit. I'll do this. I'll do that. And it's like, it's not rational. There's no rational thought because they're generally quite low self-esteem, and they're not very self-aware, right? Which is two terrible traits for a trader. You need to be very confident in yourself, not overconfident, and you need to have hyper self-awareness. Because if you're not aware of your own flaws, you're going to make mistakes repeatedly in the market. And those people that display the overconfidence traits tend to think that they can bully the market. They think that the market owes them something. They think that somehow they can have an impact on the market, all of which are not true in any sense. And then, so that's like funny in a way that losing traders have overconfidence. You might not think that, but that is true. Some of the worst traders I know are the most confident in their picks. They'll outright say, and you know how much I hate people who talk in absolutes. They will outright say, like, Bitcoin's going here. This is going to crash. I'm like, but you've been wrong like every time you've said this. How are you still so confident? And it's just a case of they can't admit they're wrong. And the other thing with this, what's very important, not everybody is trading to make money. Not everybody is actually trading to be a profitable trader. They will all tell you they are. They don't know this. It's an unconscious bias. So you know something very simple, right? It's usually about how you grew up. You know something very simple about someone in your school. You all know the person in school who was super loud in class. You know, they always wanted attention. They were like the class clown, or they were shouting, or they were always distracting people, whatever. They're super loud. Those people got no attention from their parents, right? Because they don't get attention at home. They're crying out for attention in class or in work or in the relationships. They're trying to find something that was absent in their childhood. So a lot of this even happens in trading, and it manifests itself because there's so many subconscious biases going on in our brains that we're not even aware of. And the thing with the overconfident losing trader, you might think that that's crazy, and that's because you're wired a certain way. I think it's crazy, but I understand it because I've studied it. The reason there can be an overconfident losing trader is because they're not actually trading for money. They're trading for something else. Generally, those people are trading for excitement. They're trading to feel something because there's a hole in their life. There's a hole in their whatever it is. They feel empty in some way. Either they have a shit job, they have a terrible wife, they have a terrible relationship, they're not happy at home, maybe they don't have any relationship, they feel lonely. These people are looking for something external instead of looking within themselves to fix whatever problem it is. And it manifests itself in false bravado, right? False confidence in the markets to the point of delusion, because it doesn't matter to them whether they win or not. They just have to get their opinion out there. That's the first type of overconfident. Second type is obviously on a win streak. Now, this is something that will affect all of us. That first type, that's only a very specific type of person. Maybe it's you, maybe it's not. Most people it's not. The second type is when you're on a winning streak and you think you can't lose. And it doesn't matter how long you trade for. This still gets you. This gets me. I have never, ever, defeated this. It happens to everyone because it's hardwired in you. Even though there's no such thing as like a streak, there's no such thing as a lucky streak or a winning streak that can go on indefinitely. It's just the probabilities, right? You all know that if you have 100 trades, it's not going to be win-loss, right? If you have 50% win rate, it's going to be streaks of 5 or 6 winners, streaks of 5 or 6 losers randomly. And even though I know that, I still feel that when I'm trading well and when I'm making money, when I'm on a streak and my account's growing, I feel more confident and I want to take more risk. I want to take bigger positions. I want to take these other ideas. And you have to just center yourself and come back. That's the overconfidence. And it's the house money effect. It's a gambling fallacy that because you're up, you're winning, you're on a roll, you feel like, yeah, I'll just put, I know I normally would only put 1,000 onto this trade of risk, but I'll put 5,000 on because I just made 20,000 last week. You cannot think of it that way because those hot streaks, they're going to come once or twice a year. So even though you made, say your average weekly returns is usually 4,000, then you make 20,000 in a week, right? That might be the one time that year, maybe 2 times that year where you make that. The rest of the time, you're struggling and scrapping and making 4, maybe losing a bit, or maybe making 5, or maybe making 1. You cannot view that as free money. It is not free money. That is essential to your yearly target, your yearly portfolio. But there's this thing where you're like, no, I normally make 4, I've made 20, I've got this setup, looks amazing, I'm going to put 5 on, if I lose, it's all right, I've still got 15. And you'll convince yourself that loss, I've still got 15. But so often, it then anchors in your brain, your last trade was 5k of risk, you're like, well, why not do another one? And next thing, the whole 20's gone. Right? That's happened to me several times, not recently, but thankfully, but over the past few years, where especially in a bull run you feel like money's just going to keep coming from the sky endlessly, because you've got systems, you've got edge. It is actually easy to make money, right? There is a period which it's easy to make money in. It's keeping the money that separates the winners and losers. You have to be clear about that. Anyone can make money in a bull market. It's the old meme, everyone's a genius. It's about keeping it. And so that's the overconfidence you want to watch out for, because especially now as we head into more favorable conditions, which it seems like, 2024, 2025, you're going to be in that position. You're going to feel overconfident. You're going to buy stuff and it's going to pump. It's going to pump like right after you buy, and you're going to feel like a genius. And you're going to forget all those times that you bought something and it went sideways for 3 weeks. Right? You're not a genius. Just remind yourself. Fall back. Get away from that 10 out of 10. Back down to 8. 8 is the perfect number for your confidence level as a trader. And the 8 will only come from recognizing when you're at 10 and pulling it down. And the 8 will also come from recognizing when you're at 3 and being consistent to get to 6. And then understanding at 6 that it's just about doing it for many, many, many months. So like my sales example, so that it can't be a mistake. Nobody, like I had people in work that called me lucky and said it was a fluke, said I was a one-off, a one-hit wonder. They even said that after 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Nobody said it after a year. And I was on stage at the yearly awards collecting the Top Consultant of the Year award. Because you can't do something for a year consistently and call it luck. It's not possible. It's far too long. It's 365 days. Exact same thing applies in trading. And it's not about how much money you make. It's about doing everything right for a month, then 3, then 6, then 12. And you're like, I am a confident trader. And then the big key with it is that even if you slip up then on month 13, even if you slip up, it's fine, because the balance, the weight, is far greater on the side of process. Meaning, if you follow your process for 12 months and then you slip up for 1 month, but you catch yourself and you realize, okay, I fucked up, I deviated this month from my plan, but back to the plan. Because you know how to go back to the plan because you did it for 12 months. 1 mistake out of 13 is nothing. The problem with most traders is they trade haphazardly for 12 months and then they follow a plan for 1 month and then they go back to haphazard trading. So you never build that confidence. Confidence comes from process. And process comes from just taking the simple things and being consistent.